Hello, my name is Fernando and I chose Ancient Rome by Giovanni Paolo Panini, an Italian painter during the 17th century. So this is a painting I chose. It's called Ancient Rome. Its medium is oil on canvas and the canvas is about 67 feet by 90 feet. Within this one painting there are about 60 other works of art, most of which are done by different artists. So why am I showing you a painting about other paintings? Well, because this painting in particular shows a group of figures going through what at the time was known as a grand tour. The Grand Tour was a movement where young aristocrats would travel to places such as Paris, Venice, Florence, and especially Rome to further master their skills as artists by looking at all the great art from that place. In this case, it's ancient Rome. Okay, so first let's look at the perspective of this painting. We can clearly see the use of a vanishing point with bigger and more detail being placed on the objects closer to us than those farther away. When we zoom in, we see clear skies and what happens to be Rome in the background. Okay, now let's take a closer look at one of the paintings in particular that shows the work that went into making the perspective just right. We're going to zoom in into the top left right here into this painting in particular. Here we see the interior of the Pantheon, a Panini original. However, it has been slightly altered. Let's compare how. On the left, we have one of the original sketches from Panini, and on the right, we have the one depicted in ancient Rome. As you can clearly see, it has been changed up a little bit so that the viewer, that being me and you, feels as if the painting is standing way above our heads and we must look up to see it. This further adds to the complicated perspective and point of view of the painting. Now we are going to zoom in into the top middle of the painting. Here we can see the use of columns with complex arrangements where the arches and columns meet. However, once again, we are concentrating on the perspective of these two paintings within a painting. So I ask, are they two domes or two flat surfaces? It's difficult to tell when zoomed in, but they are in fact two flat surfaces. For now, let's just look at the one on the right. It almost appears to go into a ceiling and create a dome that opens up into the sky. This seems to be another well-drawn illusion to make us believe that we are in fact standing in a great museum. Now that we have covered the complex perspective of this painting, let's take a look at some of the artwork closer to us. First, we are going to take a closer look at the bottom right. Here we see the mythological theme that was ever so present throughout Rome, although it was soon replaced by more classical styles. This statue is called Laocoon and his sons. Laocoon was a Trojan priest who got attacked by a serpent. As to why he got attacked is a little unclear. Some stories say it was because he was supposed to never marry, and because he did, a giant serpent sent by the gods killed only his sons and left him to suffer alone. Other tales tell the story about how he tried to expose the Trojan horse with a spear but was attacked by serpents sent from angry gods in the process. Now let's take a look at another statue on the bottom left. This statue shows Farnus Hercules, a tired yet strong Hercules that just finished fighting and killing a lion, which was his first task of the 12 labors. Further support of this is the apple of Hesperides. He seems to be holding behind his back. His pose at first glance seems to be somewhat of a contrapposto, but looks a little odd. This is because it bears on one key thing. His head is looking down instead of being strong and looking up towards the sky. Towards the back, we can also see more statues exhibiting contrapposto. Now let's zoom in into a group of people in the lower middle of the painting. This is probably the most important part of the painting, and in my opinion, it perfectly describes what this painting actually represents. First, let's look at the different groups of people. We have two different groups of people. In the first, we have a pair of young scholars sketching and taking notes of the art around them. The other group is dressed entirely different. They are wearing wigs and elegant clothes, suggesting that they are part of the elite class. In the middle of that group, we have Count Stainville, and behind him, and behind the chair, is the artist himself, Panini. This could be his way of putting his own mark on the painting. And then the other two figures that are admiring one of the works closest to him. This is very important detail because it may help to describe the thought behind the painting. I think that this shows the artist, in this case Panini, showing the Count, who also happens to be the buyer of the painting, all the artworks that reside in his memory. Why his memory? Well, let's take a step back and look at how carefully everything is arranged. The arrangement seems to be almost like that of once of the saloons of the French Academy, however, ever so different. Every art piece seems to be carefully considered and placed in a specific spot. Unlike the saloon, those that concentrate on the ceilings are placed higher up. But even at that, all of them depict the art or object or sculpture in a very careful way, as if you yourself were looking at the best angle of it. To top it off, the Count seems to be holding a guidebook, almost as if he was on a tour and had to keep pulling it out just to know exactly what he was looking at. Because of this, I think that the painting's major theme is the Grand Tour, and through the eyes of Panini, and how he would dream to have all in one museum to study from all of them. Thank you.